Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. This is going to be episode 67, and I am, of course, Gandhi. Today I'm going to be taking a look at, well, before we get into it, I didn't know, I was kind of indecisive as to what I wanted to talk about today. I didn't know if I wanted to do, because I got a lot of emails, right? Like, so I was gone for 10 days. I went from PAX to my grandma's funeral, and then, so I've been gone for like 10 days. So I was like, I'll kick it to the people, whatever they want me to talk about, we'll talk about it. I got a lot of emails on people, a lot of people saying, hey, Scott, like, how do I get my parents to let me go to an event? And so, I've been giving it a lot of thought, and there's like a lot of instruction videos out there, but there's no real thought to it, right? Like, it doesn't hit the parents where it actually matters, because a lot of people don't speak from their own experience. So I was really tempted to do that, but then, I was like, a lot of people probably want me to talk about this Frank O'Connor interview, and so I was like, well, I'll throw it up to the people. So I did like that retweet favorite thing, that cliche bullshit, and a lot of people spoke, and they decided they wanted the Frank O'Connor interview. So without further ado, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So if you have no idea what the hell I am talking about, which I understand, because today it's football, and I understand if you don't want to watch it because there's football. I don't care about any of the teams playing right now, so it doesn't bother me. What happened was, so Frank O'Connor here, I want to get it correct. He is the franchise development director at 343. So essentially, it takes two hands to hold his testicles. He's a very, very, very prestige guy, and he sat down with Rod Breslow. And who Rod is, he's Slasher. He's basically how I like to call him, is he's basically like the notorious journalist asshole in the esports industry. And they actually produced a very, 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 very good article. So the first thing they're going to do here, the first thing I want to say, if you haven't read the article, I'm going to be putting out like a couple pieces that I think really stick out to me. And then after that, I'm going to be talking about everything. So here's the first part. So the question that Rod asks is, he goes, many in the competitive community were a bit put off by this tournament being a free-for-all, considering there's a 9 to 10 year history of 4v4 competitive play. Fantastic, just to cut it off right there. Fantastic beginning of that, right? Because that's kind of, it captured my opinion. It captured a lot of other people's. I know Diesel was on there with me and a couple other people. So that question really like hit home for, I think, a lot of people. But so it continues. Why not add 4v4 to the tournament? What was the decision made to strictly do FFA and 1v1? So you guys can read it here. So I'll highlight it. I'll highlight the parts that you actually should be paying attention to here. This is really it. This part right here. So the big thing here is that basically Frank's saying, you know what? I get the fact that, a lot of people were kind of pissed off about this, but really, this isn't all we're going to be doing here. We're going to have more tournaments coming down the stretch, and he goes on to basically say, like, they have to find a way to basically keep Halo sustained throughout this entire time. And that's really very, very nice to hear. I think that what that did, this interview and that part right there, really just alleviated a humongous burden off of the Halo competitors' backs. I mean, you have me, right? Like, I've been telling people, there may not be another event, and if there's not, you guys should look into Call of Duty to try to compete, because by the time Halo 5 comes out, you'll already have gone through a COD XP and like 3 MLG events plus all the other events. And so, I didn't want to, like, I'm that asshole, right? Like, because I look out for people. Like, I'm the asshole for saying, like, I'm a traitor or whatever the fuck. So I'm that guy. But on the same things, like, this helps a lot of people, and it actually helps me too, because now I don't have to push anyone to go to Call of Duty, because how it sounds like they're actually going to be doing another event. And so they're obviously going to be looking at teams next. Now, when I was thinking about it, I was sitting here and I was like, is teams going to be the next decision? I wasn't sure, because at the same time I was kind of like, I don't know, for like the casual person, 1v1s make the most sense, right? Like, it makes a lot of sense for the casual person to watch a 1v1 because it's simple, right? It's me versus one other person. You can see both screens. You know what goes on kills. And it's very, very easily relayed into Well, everyone. Everyone can understand. Everyone can understand how it works. And that's the best part about it, is because everyone knows, like, oh, okay, all he has to do is kill this person more than that person kills him. There's a time limit. They say it to count down. It's very, very, very viewer friendly. So with teams, I was sitting there, I was like, are they going to actually go with teams, or are they going to go with 2v2s? And I'm fine with either. Obviously, I think 2s may be easier for the viewer to understand, but I would love, right, don't get me fucking twisted, right? Like, I would love nothing more than to have a 4v4 event. But for the casual person, that's, you have to ask yourself, oh, does that get a little bit dicey for them to understand? And I get that. So I wasn't sure how it was going to work. Now, moving forward here, I got to find this one part of the article that was awesome. Unfortunately, I can't cap like 17 different streams, pictures here, because it's on one page. So I got to dig for this. But essentially, what he went on to say was, Slasher was kind of like, hey man, what did you think of the event? And the guy was like, oh my god in heaven, like, this was fucking awesome. I have no fingernails left. It was the most intense thing. Now, stop, pause, rewind, reset, right? That part right there, right? We, as a community here, we, as everyone who has been around since Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, it doesn't matter when you came around, doesn't matter. You could have came at Halo 1, you could have came at Halo 3, you could have came at Halo Reach, hell, you could have came at Halo 4. Doesn't matter to me. We all know what competitive Halo brings. Every single one of us know that. It's super intense, right? And 1v1s, especially for, God, no, like, unbelievable, like, life-changing money is even more intense, right? Everyone knows that. It's super intense. We've done a lot of the personalities here, myself, Maven, Ghost, Bravo, us four really have brought, personality to the players as well, right? Like, you guys know, like, their background stories. Oh, yeah, this is an MLG shirt. Look at this shit. This is old as fuck. The SS MLG. You have to be way old school for that. And so we made these people, like, household names as well. So everyone's able to relate to the person. And, like, that 1v1 with Ola and Ace was amazing because both of them needed the money, right? For, like, different reasons. And I thought I was so fine with whoever won, but obviously I was rooting for Ola. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. The best thing about 343 holding this event is because they now realize, like, they get a first-hand look as to what competitive Halo is all about. I remember at AGL 8, that's basically, like, the most prestige Halo 4 event besides Global Championships was AGL 8. Right, and there was 3 guys who came out to Knoxville. I think it was Duncan. Oh God, I forget the other 2 guys' names. Whatever the other 2 guys' names were, and they were watching, and they were like, "Dude, this is nuts! Like, I can't believe, like, these players are this good. These games are so intense." And we're like, "Yeah, that's why we stress the competitive scene so much." Now, if you watch my last video, I don't envy them at all because I don't know how to sell copies. I just know about the competitive side of things, and I'm not saying competitive is the end all be all, right? But obviously, it's amazing for them to see it because now, since they actually dabbled with it, right? Like Frank O'Connor and a lot of other people watched this event because they hosted it, and obviously everyone in the office is going to watch it. This is kind of like their gateway drug, right? Like, this is like them smoking marijuana, and now they want to get into other drugs, as, that's how the media describes marijuana and everything. So this was their gateway drug into the competitive side of things, and I think that's the best thing that actually happened for us. I really, really do. I think now what's going to happen is we might see tools added, like spectator mode into Halo 5, and it is announced in this article, by the way, if you go down and scroll down and read through a bunch of shit, you can actually see where he says, spectator mode will not be put into Halo 4, but it's a possibility for Halo 5, but they can't go on to talk about much other stuff because, well, it's not even Halo 5, it's the next Halo, but you get what the hell I'm saying. A lot of people are sitting there and they're like, oh, why isn't it there? Well, they go on to it, and developers always make such good points because they're like, oh, well, you have finite people doing X and finite people doing Y, so a lot of resources are just tied up, and I get it, right? But so now I think this event was amazing because it kind of showed them like how well competitive Halo can actually outsource their game for them. I mean, if you go back, right, like I'm not saying me, I'm not saying T-Squared, I'm not saying Ogres, just competitive Halo. If you go back in time, the outsourcing of our names and like the pro players, right, like of all the pro players throughout all the genres, we sold copies, right, like that's what we do. Like, competitive Halo players sell copies to their friends because, one, they're better than all of them. Two, you know, you get a little bit of fame. You're getting money. You're on stream. You have fans. Like, people want that shit, right? And everyone's like, oh, well, I can't. There's no way. I'm 5'3". I'm Asian. There's no way I'm making it into the NFL. I'll play fucking Halo, right? Okay, cool. You think you have the same chance, but, you know, really, the scale's obviously less, but it's different, right? Because it's just as hard. I mean, so many people have been around competitive Halo for so long, and they still have yet to make it. They haven't. So, you know, you get those people who are like, oh, I'll go pro in this game. We outsource games. Like, what competitive players do in every genre? Sell games. Like, Nade Shot, let's just taking Nade Shot, right? Nade Shot has probably sold more Scuff gaming controllers than people we wouldn't even like shit we wouldn't even imagine. He's probably sold more Scuff gaming controllers than were active players on Halo 4 at the beginning. It's a pretty impressive fucking feat. Okay? But so, like, that's what we do. Like, that's how it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. We are the competitive players. We sell games. Okay? So I think they're starting to realize that, which is good. Now, I would sit here and talk more about it, but I want to talk about, like, the future here going forward. I think, right, I honestly believe that the free-for-all was the best thing that 343 could do. And yes, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, Sandra Bear. I would not be surprised at all. I guarantee it's probably close. And please, by all means, someone ask him and get a number, because I've seen, I don't know, whatever, fucking. I honestly think that, man, that's, people just have a way of selling things, dude. Look, dude, I don't know. It maybe money-wise, he maybe made them 400K money-wise. I don't know. I don't care. However many fucking controllers that is, it's still a lot. This is all my guess, right? Like, I honestly believe, like, competitive players can do that. That's how it is. Fuck it. Moving forward here, I think everyone knows, like, as the dust is settled and all the chaos is done, everyone knows, like, that free-for-all was amazing for Halo 4. I don't know what the carryover has been from Global Championships to the playlist, and if anyone knows that, by all means tell me, because I have not a clue in hell. So if anyone knows that, please let me know what the carryover has been. It was like 3K. Okay, that's still good, though. I mean, 3K is still an additional 3K. You're talking about 3,000 more people who are buying DLC. You're talking about 3,000 more people who are into the competitive scene. And if we know anything about demographics here, we're talking about, let's just say 10%, right? You're talking about 10% of 3K actually maybe doing the carryover and coming to events, right? So that's, what is that? A couple teams, which increases the prize money, because everyone knows prize money comes from teams showing up to events at smaller scale tournaments. So, fucking hoorah. Now, this is the first part of Halo 4, right? Ideally, like, if there's one critique I think all of us could agree with, is we wish we had this event earlier. If we had this event around January, we would be, like, the world would be different, all right? Now, imagine, like, I can't, look, like, I'm not knocking Halo Global Championships at all in any way, shape, or form, right? But I think it's a time thing, right? If we had this all the way back in January, now imagine going from Global Championships to, like, AGL 5, like, where Maven and I first casted Halo 4, right? Like, I think the key is I think the key is for their model, and I think they're figuring it out, right? And I think this is what we're going to expect to see, like with Halo 5 or with Halo the new one, right? I think what we can expect to see is like a free for all at the beginning of its lifespan. I don't know whether it's 6 months in, 7 months in, 9 months in. I think ideally, I think everyone would like to see like 6 months in, right? So like 6 months in, everyone's there. And they do an FFA to bring people in. And the reason why they want to do an FFA is because the hardest part about teams is forming the team for the average person. And I so get that, dude. I get it. Because everyone knows that. How many people out here have had a hard time, honestly, getting a team? I mean, press 1 if you've ever had an easy job making a team. I don't even think no one should press 1 because no one has ever had an easy time making a team. Ever. It's impossible. Making teams are so hard. Yeah, exactly. So, I get it. It's going to bring people in. I'm expecting to see, like the carryover here. I'm all fucking scatterbrained. I started up my Predator diet today, so it's like fucking under 100 carbs, and I'm tanking. So, what I'm expecting to see is in Halo 5, we're going to see it broken down into scales. I want Halo to be around for 2 years, right? And in order for Halo to be around for 2 to 3 years, you have to have a nice structure, right? You really do. To compete with the Call of Duties, the Titanfalls, and all these other games, you really have to have like a nice structure of everything. So, let's say the first 6 months of Halo 5, right? We have a free-for-all. Same exact thing, global championship, everyone comes in, everyone's happy, there's a fuck ton of people, but now it's going to be, it would probably be doubled. The amount of competitors, I mean, if you were to take it in January, like you could double it, right? You really could. I know it gets down to a venue thing, but like, even if it's 256 people, like you're gonna have amazing viewers. You're gonna have, I mean, I'm assuming the viewers were, I don't even know, by the way, if we'll ever get those numbers on the viewers. I pray to God we do, but you'll have even better viewers, okay? So you have better viewers. You have a tougher, much tougher competition because everyone knows, right? Like we had like T Squared and like Ogre 2 kind of come back for a little bit and kind of screw around. And, they did well. Shockwave made like day 2. He was top 64. I think he ended up finishing like top 32. That should never happen, man. And I get like those 3 guys are like, they're kind of freaks of natures, but still. Right? Like, it shouldn't happen. So you announce it. 6 months in, you have an FFA. Bam, boom, done, right? 3 months later, 4 months later, you announce that there's another event. So we're talking, this is the first year. So the first year you have an FFA event, and then you have, like, I wouldn't care if it was 2v2s. Depending on how, like, the maps and everything are for Halo 5, I really wouldn't care if there was 2v2s. I wouldn't. And I think 2v2s are okay because anyone can grab someone, right? It's when you have to grab a third and a fourth where it gets tricky. I think everyone here in this chat has one buddy that you would be willing to go and compete with, right? I know I would. I wouldn't grab Maven. I would grab Hoss, like that. Fuck Maven. I want Hoss. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. And plus 2v2s are fun to watch. Then you don't have to get into like the capture the flags, the oddballs, the ricochets, which is going to be. From everything I'm hearing, Ricochet is awesome, but I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it. But so like you don't have to explain that to the viewers; it still kills, right? So your first year, you're building the scene, okay? So it's like it's the steps up into the pinnacle of what competitive 4v4 Halo is, right? So you start off, it's an FFA, time limit, no kills, go. Top 4, 1v1s, go. Bam, done. Moving forward, 2v2s, right? However you want to do it, 25 kills, 50 kills, whatever. 30 kills, 42, 37.5, I don't care. Whatever it is. Imagine a 0.5, though. How the fuck would that work? I guess like a trade. Nah, that's retarded. So, don't acknowledge that. That was dumb. So you have So then you go into 2v2s, right? And then it starts getting more competitive because you're like, oh, there's teamwork, here's positioning, there's spawn killing, you have to control X, Y, Z, B, D, A. And you're like, okay, this is awesome. This is Awesome. This is exactly what we're hoping to see, right? So that's the first year. And then year 2, right? So let's just call it month 15, month 16, 17. You announce, like, right after it, you announce the 4v4. And so the 4v4 comes in, and the 4v4, what it's going to do, it's going to have a lot of hype, right? You're going to have, like, the online qualifiers. You got to have the LAN events. Like, that's the one thing that is necessity for 4s. This isn't, you can't get away with, like, FFA, right? Like, FFA, you can get away with playing online and being okay. 4v4s is the devil. Everyone here knows 4v4 sucks ass online. There's nothing you can do about it. It's terrible. You have to have the LAN events. Whether you partner with companies like AGL, UGC, UMG, doesn't matter to me. Or if you do like the events at Rooster Teeth or PAX East and PAX West or any of those conventions, it's necessity to do the 4v4 to have LAN events and online. You have to almost balance it out. It almost has to be 4 and 4. So 8 total qualifiers for the 4v4. Anyways, moving forward. I haven't said it in so long, it feels so good. Moving forward. So, moving forward. I have fun with it. I can't help it. So, now we're sitting here, we have 4 and 4, right? So now you have this, right? So we build it up to this place where it's like, this is the pinnacle of competitive Halo. This is what everyone should be striving for. Even though there's so much money in the FFA, right? I gotta find my finger right here. There's so much money in the FFA. 2v2s is a lot of money, and then 4v4s down here, like money-wise, because, you know, to scale it down, I mean, obviously 4s, everyone individually is going to make less money. But even though it's less money, it's like 2v2s and FFA are down here, and 4v4s are all the way up here. I gotta get a fucking whiteboard, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I gotta do. So, yeah, you get it here, right? And it's bam, done. And everyone knows, like, 4v4 is exactly what the hell you have to strive for to be the best at. Because that's where you see players actually mold into something larger than their gamer tag. That's, yeah, green screen obviously would be awesome, but let's be honest here. Just right on my wall. I licked my finger. I don't know if you can see it, but that's kind of gross. I'm going to get yelled at for that later on. Whatever. So, 4v4 is where you see people start living larger than their gamer tags, right? Like, that's what happens. You're sitting there and you're like, oh my god, I know Richie Hines. Like, I know Richie Hines. Like, I know Richie Hines is going to be this support player. I know Formula's going to be this arrogant asshole who's going to go for this no-scope. He has to go for this no-scope in this scenario because that's who he is as a person. Right? Like, I know Pistola's going to be a wizard. And when you meet these people, like, there's times where you see their personality come out, like, in game, right? Like, there's times where I hang out with Ninja, and I'm like, you are the exact same person as your playstyle. You know what I mean? Like, you see it. It's almost as if your personality integrates with how you play. And this would be, like, my dissertation of like, clinical psychology on fucking professional video gamers, right? Like, that's what it would be. I would literally be a formula to see, like, play styles matched with your personality traits. And I think there's nothing more fucking majestic than that, dude. Like, that is what people should strive for. I really do. I honestly think it's the coolest thing in the fucking world. So, you have your 4v4 event, and then it's just there, right? Boom. Right in the back. Everyone's happy. You have the exact same production. You have a switcher. You have everything. And you're good, right? Like, I honestly believe that would be the best thing in the entire world for Halo. So, even if, like, I get, like, you know, this is far advanced, and this is, like, looking way down the line. But I think everyone here, if a format was launched, like, I think that's the most important thing. A format has to be launched, right? Where it's like, okay, here is our 2-year breakdown. In 6 months, we're going to have an FFA event. In 10 months, we're going to have a 2v2 event. Right? 13 months, we're going to have a 4v4 event. People are able to practice for such. And then, meanwhile, right, you have now AGLs, and you have UGCs, and UMGs, and all these other G's, and M's, and A's, and L's, and whatever the fuck game, CG, console gaming league, CGLs. Like, you have every league this side of the Mississippi and the other side of the Mississippi going all the way to Madagascar, right? Like, you have all these leagues everywhere. Who cares? I don't care. All these leagues, they can actually plan accordingly and have events that kind of lead up to it. You can be like, oh, look, we want to have a 4v4 event, but you know what? We can do an FFA as well. And so the FFA becomes now a staple in competitive Halo. And then they start doing the 2v2s as well. And then that becomes a staple. Like, FFA has long been gone in Halo history, right? Like, up until now, FFA was like 2012 Columbus, and then from 2012 Columbus, no one really batted an eye at it since Halo 2, right? And then 2v2s, we did that Stride Championship series with Puckett, me, Puckett, and Shockwave in Halo 3, and I think Halo Reach as well. No, it's Halo Reach. We didn't do it in Halo 3. And then before that, I did a heavyweight match, Shockwave and I versus Ogres at Dallas 07. And then before that, I think the last 2v2 was 2004 National Championships, right? Like, that's a long time ago. But if you start bringing these back, right, you're going to have your players who are your FFA guys, your 2v2 guys, your 4v4 guys. And normally we see as there's a direct correlation between the best 2v2s, best 4v4, best FFAs. But sometimes it happens where it's not the case. I mean, if you look at 11-11, right? So there was this player in Halo 1, his name was 11-11. He's from Florida. He played on Florida Jackalopes a little bit. He had some good 4v4 placements, like in the top 4 and top 3s. I think he even had like a couple top 2s. But he was known for 2v2s. Like, that was his shit. And he beat, like Ogre 1 and like Walshy, and Ogre 2 and help me out, Killer N, or however those two it was Ogre 1 and Killer N and Ogre 2 and Walshy. He would beat them. Right, like at Seattle, he beat him, and like at LA, he beat him, and he was known for basically 2v2s, right? So this helps everyone, because now you as a player and a competitor are able to actually start marketing yourself as such. Like, I kick ass at 2v2s and 4v4s, but I'm a shit cock ball sack at FFA. There you go. So, other than that, I'm going to watch football for the rest of the day, and I'm going to eat food because I haven't eaten yet. So tomorrow, if any of you guys have a problem with getting out to events because your parents suck, really, to put it simply, like, I can't put it any other way besides, like, your parents suck because they're not supportive, right? Well, if your parents aren't supportive, I guess is how I can phrase it. Tomorrow I am doing a video strictly for you, and I have the feels in there. I may get emotional. I have all that bullshit. So you just know that tomorrow I will be able to help you all out. So other than that, make sure to follow My Nutrition on Twitter. That's NOOtrition. They're awesome people. There's free samples every Friday, right? And I don't get paid to say this shit. These people just kick ass. I recommend NeuroStem for everyone. Other than that, I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.